Sarah and Ethan had been married for 8 years. They lived in a picturesque house nestled in Silver Pines, a small town where everyone knew each other. Their life was what most would consider perfect. Ethan was a successful architect, and Sarah ran a cozy bakery that the townsfolk adored. They had a routine, a rhythm, a life that seemed blissfully normal. But as the years passed, Sarah began to feel a gnawing emptiness. It wasn't that she didn't love Ethan. She did, deeply. But something was missing, something that she couldn't quite put her finger on. The routine that had once been comforting now felt suffocating. Ethan was often busy with work, and while Sarah knew he was providing for their future, she couldn't shake the loneliness that crept in during the quiet evenings. One afternoon, a new face walked into Sarah's bakery. His name was Daniel, a writer from the city who had moved to Silver Pines seeking inspiration. He was charming, with a rugged handsomeness and a smile that seemed to carry stories of adventure and passion. He visited the bakery every morning, ordering the same thing, a black coffee and a croissant. At first, their conversations were polite, centered around the weather or local gossip. But as the days turned into weeks, their chats grew longer, more personal. Daniel was everything Ethan was not. He was spontaneous, passionate, and made Sarah feel seen in a way she hadn't in years. He noticed the little things, how her eyes sparkled when she talked about a new recipe, or how she bit her lip when she was deep in thought. He asked her about her dreams, her fears, and listened intently, as if every word she said was poetry. Sarah knew it was wrong, knew that she was playing with fire, but she couldn't help herself. Daniel was a breath of fresh air in a life that had grown stale. They began meeting outside the bakery, first for coffee, then for long walks in the woods that bordered Silver Pines. It was during one of these walks, under the canopy of autumn leaves, that Sarah found herself in Daniel's arms, their lips meeting in a kiss that felt inevitable. The affair began in earnest. They were careful, meeting in secret, always aware of the eyes in a small town. But Silver Pines had a way of whispering secrets, and it wasn't long before Ethan noticed the change in Sarah. She was distracted, distant, often coming home late with weak excuses. The laughter they once shared at the dinner table was gone, replaced by an uncomfortable silence. Ethan wasn't a fool. He knew something was wrong, but he didn't want to confront it. Instead, he buried himself in work, hoping that whatever it was would pass. But the more he tried to ignore it, the more it gnawed at him. One night, after a particularly cold and silent dinner, Ethan followed Sarah. She had told him she was going to visit a friend, but Ethan knew better. He watched from a distance as she met Daniel in the woods, their secret place. He saw the way she looked at Daniel, the way she used to look at him. Heartbroken, Ethan returned home and waited. When Sarah came back, he confronted her. She didn't deny it. There was no point. The truth hung in the air between them, heavy and suffocating. For weeks, they lived in a tense truce, not knowing what to do. Sarah ended the affair, realizing that she had risked everything for a fleeting passion. But the damage was done. The trust that once formed the foundation of their marriage was shattered. Ethan struggled to forgive, and Sarah couldn't forgive herself. The distance between them grew, until they were nothing more than strangers living under the same roof. Silver Pines, once their sanctuary, now felt like a prison. In the end, it was Ethan who made the first move. One morning, as they sat in silence over breakfast, he looked at her and simply said, "We can't go on like this." Sarah nodded, tears welling in her eyes. They both knew what needed to be done. The divorce was quiet, just like their marriage had been. They sold the house, and Sarah left Silver Pines, unable to stay in the town where her life had unraveled. Ethan stayed behind, burying himself in work, trying to rebuild a life from the ashes of what once was. Years later, Sarah would look back on her time in Silver Pines with a bittersweet nostalgia. She had loved Ethan, truly, but she had also been lost, searching for something that neither he nor Daniel could give her. She never found what she was looking for, but in the end she found something else, herself. As for Ethan, he never remarried. He remained in Silver Pines, the town where he had loved and lost, carrying on with the quiet dignity of a man who had made peace with his past. They never spoke again, but sometimes, in the quiet of the night, they both thought of what might have been, if only things had been different.